Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. Happy, I was about to say Friday.
Feels like it.
Happy Christmas Eve and happy game day, Ku'ule Agbayani. Right here with you guys. Paul Brecht running down the controls, and joining us in studio on this very special Christmas Eve show, we have got Kyle Galdeira. Yeah! Woo! Kyle joining in on the Christmas Eve party, and shout out and aloha to all of you that are tuning in on our YouTube channel. Special live stream on YouTube today for this Christmas Eve and Hawai'i Bowl, Hawaii football game day, which we will get to in just a second, of course, especially getting Kyle's thoughts on the game coming up today, because we haven't heard from you. You guys have heard us, by us, I mean Paul and I, kind of talk about this game ad nauseum at this point. So definitely want to give Kyle a lot of opportunity to get his thoughts of what has led up to this game and all parts in between and what the expectations are. But I hope you guys are enjoying your Christmas Eve, and thank you for joining us on radio, 95.1 FM, AM 760, online at hawaiisportsradio.com, or once again on our YouTube channel. Be sure you guys like and subscribe, or if you're going to tune in, watch or listen on demand, you can head on over to the YouTube live chat if you want to get in on this Christmas Eve party chat, or you can text us at 808-888-KG1. That's 808-888-5481. And shout out to just right on cue. We got Caesar in there already. Merry Christmas Eve to y'all. So excited for the Hawai'i Bowl today. I think that's all of us. I think I quite almost literally opened my eyes and was like, it's game day. We're finally, it feels like my Christmas at this point, because it feels like how I was when I was a little kid, and like it's Christmas here again. Caesar also saying, I forgot to mention happy belated 4-year anniversary to the show. Yes, been following y'all since the beginning, mainly because I thought Ku was Benny Agbayani's daughter at the time. But I'm glad now that you know that I'm not, and that we don't really have any relation, I'm glad you still stuck around, Caesar. But yes, thank you guys for joining us. And yeah, Kyle, what's up? Thank you. Good morning for coming out here. And I know you'll be out at the game today as well.
Yeah, I'll be working for ESPN. That work.
Oh, maybe we got to switch the microphone.
I was going to say, that's interesting.
Oh. Well, it's weird because the last time we used that mic, it worked just fine. So we'll just blame Michael. Michael, I think, broke it when he was here. As Paul needs to switch the thing. Anyways, that is so
Try
weird.
now.
How about this one?
Whoa. What's going on over there?
What's going on? How about that one? Move that one.
What, the host mic
Yeah,
over?
move that one around.
All right, we can.
Live radio, folks, and live YouTube. Wow, that is so weird. All right, let's try this one.
There? Good morning. All right.
There we go.
And we're good.
There we go.
Oh, boy,
All
I
right,
got 3 mics over here. I don't know what to do with myself. We got to get this on YouTube.
The visual. Oh, my Lord.
And we have a visual.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway,
All right,
Merry
go ahead.
Christmas.
Continue, Kyle. What were you saying? I forget. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's happy Hawai'i Bowl day. Happy Christmas Eve. Yesterday was Happy Festivus, by the way, for all the Seinfeld fans. But I'll be working for ESPN doing my stat work, and it should be a lot of fun. I think, Hawaii, this bowl was made for Hawaii, and it was intended to give Hawaii a chance at the postseason after they got left out in the early 2000s. And what better way than to have Timmy Chang, Nick Rolovich going at it and give a lot of these players some opportunities to not only finish their careers, but also kind of launch forward into next year as well.
Sorry, I was distracted. I was trying to make sure the visuals for you looked
8,
really good.
microphones.
We will, like I said, we will blame Michael Liscaro for.
Yeah, it's always Michael's fault.
He hasn't sat in that chair or used that microphone in a while, but it's going to be his
Still
fault
his
today
fault.
because he's not here. But I'm glad that we did get one more mic to work here so that we can continue our Christmas Eve party going on. So before we really get into some of the game day stuff, again, a lot to get into with this preview. We've talked extensively about it the last couple of days and let you guys hear from the official press conference. We heard from Micah Alihado. We heard from Chris Brown. Let's see, if we take a look at the spread real quick, still holding tight at Hawaii as the 1.5 point favorite. The total, though, going back up again. So a couple of days ago, I think we said 52.5. Yesterday, Paul and I kind of gave that shocked face because they went down to 50.5. I'm looking at BetMGM right now, and it is ticked up a little bit to 51.5 is on the total. So the sharp bettors don't really know which way they want to go on this, over or under. Who knows at this point? But we're just hoping for a fun game. So before we get into some of the actual game stuff, though, I have to ask you, Kyle, because you kind of grew up here as well, watching both these head coaches and Timmy Chang and Nick Rolovich play very well here for the University of Hawaii. Because even though we've talked about it how many times, like, oh yeah, the storyline of these two coaches, when I actually saw Nick and Timmy like sitting next to each other doing this press conference together for the kickoff press conference on Monday, that is when it really hit me, and I'm like, this is actually happening. I couldn't just fathom that like these two guys who were teammates, who were in a competitive quarterback room and who did really, really well for the University of Hawaii, won big games. Timmy had a lot of the records, yada yada yada. And to see them sitting next to each other, for it to really click for me that this was actually going to happen. Like, just what is that nostalgia for you, Kyle, and just seeing this game happen in terms of the two coaches going against each other?
Well, I think the cool thing is that both are really good guys. I mean, it would be one thing if one were kind of, a personality that you don't really like, or somebody that would become the rival. Like, let's say Rolo wasn't a good guy and he was coming back here, and you had the local fans like, oh, we hate you, we're going to beat you. But it's not really like that. It's almost to the point where, and, don't drive off the road, folks. But I would say that if Cal won, personally, I wouldn't be too upset, because great for Rolo. I think he deserves the opportunity to be a head coach. It's not going to be with Cal right away, but this could be a great proving ground for him. Of course, we're all rooting for Hawaii, but it's to that level where, back when I was I was a server and a manager at Buffalo Wild Wings, Rolo and his fans would come in and have a couple of beverages, and I got to know him on that level. So he's just a really good guy. And, I think he got a bad rap at Washington State. He obviously wanted to go his own way, and it's kind of ironic because a lot of things he said ended up turning out true in hindsight. But good for him. And also, Timmy Chang, the way he's really resurrected this program. This was a make or break year for him, and he's made it. So props to both of these guys. And to your point about the spread, going from 3.5 Hawaii as the dog to now the 1.5 point favorite, it really goes to show you that this should be a toss-up game today.
I really hope so. And we've been talking about that a lot, is that we anticipate it to be a close game just because of what both teams, when they've played their best football, they are outstanding teams. But then at the same time, you look at the schedule and they have some questionable, disappointing losses on both sides. I know Hawaii fans are very familiar with a couple of those, but a couple of those losses were on the road. And Hawaii has played very, very well at home. They only have one loss to Fresno State here at home, and that could have gone either way. And that was when Micah Alihado was coming back from injury, yada, yada, yada. And that's another thing, too, right? As small as this Hawaii state is, you have, just like when we talk about how for a while or for a little bit there were two starting quarterbacks in the NFL from the same exact high school, it's almost like this too. Now you have two starting quarterbacks, both lefties, which is already like rare in itself. And then you have two quarterbacks that are essentially from the same area of the island that are doing their darn thing and going to go against each other. Now, it's not exactly how old school Taylor Swift thought, where you have two quarterbacks on the field at the same time. So it always makes me chuckle when you say that these quarterbacks are going against each other, because they're not. They're literally not technically going against each other. But just all of the things that for this game and all of these things to culminate, and how rare and just the stars feel like it really did align for all of this to come together, especially too with Cal not having the they're in the ACC but not the AAC. Does it? I just embraced the fact that it happened. I never even looked into why.
Yeah, and props to the matchmakers, props to ESPN for making this happen, because they could have gotten what is it, Memphis State Southwestern College of the poor, and nobody would have watched it. So props to them, because this game owns the day. The NBA has the day off because, of course, superstars have to spend time with their family, even though they're getting paid millions of dollars, and could take them to who knows where for $1 million trip in June. But that's another story. So this game owns the day. So I think the fact that a lot of eyes are going to be on Hawaii, and to your point, Cal, it's really, showcasing these two programs that are really on the come up.
Did you look it up at all, Paul? Like, why was it as simple as the powers that be at ESPN were like, this game's going to get all the ratings, let's put it together? Or was there some kind of alignment with bowl eligible teams / okay, this AC team has to play here, and then there was just open up? Like, I said, I just embraced the matchup, and I never actually looked at like why and how this actually ended up happening.
From what I heard, it was an option that landed on Cal's table, and Cal pushed for it a little bit on their side, and I would imagine Hawaii wouldn't really push against it because it's a pretty great opportunity both for the program and for the Hawai'i Bowl in general. So from what I heard, it was an option, and that's kind of the thing with bowl season where you kind of have the parameters of like, oh, these conferences are kind of the ones who are in these bowl games, but it's not set in stone always. It's which I find this part fun. Bowls fight for teams. Bowls want certain teams to be in their games, and this happens to some bigger games as well. You hear it with the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You'll hear it with other ones like that, but that's what I've pieced together was it was an option, and once it was known that it was an option, it was kind of behind the scenes. It was like, hey, this is the one we should go with, and I mean, it's pretty easy to sell. We were talking about it the entire first segment, whether you want to talk about the head coaches, you want to talk about the quarterbacks, you want to talk about the ties between the teams, or you want to talk about the fact that they're just very similar in the way that their seasons have gone, where, like you said, you don't really know what to expect because every time you expect something, both of these teams show you the exact opposite, it feels like, that week. So I am going into today with no expectation. I just expect to be entertained because that's something that both of these teams have been very good at all season, and I got to imagine that was a big factor in the decision-making process as well. As should be an entertaining game with lots of storylines.
And that's what I hope. It better be an entertaining game because I've been listening to our friends on VSiN, and everybody is hyping up this game, that it is going to be an entertaining game.
My buddies were texting me about it like 3 a.m. I woke up to about 45 text messages about, Paul, it's Hawai'i Bowl day. They also asked me what my thoughts were on the game, and I said I cannot give sports betting advice here. This is, I know too much. What can I say? I've got the script. They sent it to me.
They sent it to you. But that's the thing. I'm like, man, I really hope this game does not disappoint at the very least. Kind of like what you were saying earlier, Kyle. Like, clearly I'm rooting for Hawaii here. I kind of made the joke that, when we go and get a sack on JKS, it's like, just put a pillow there. Like, just put him down gently, like don't hurt. I know it's a rough game and it's whatever's happen's going to happen. And I know Hawaii isn't a dirty team. So, but they do hit really hard. But at the same time, it's like I just want to have a very, very entertaining game because I feel like these teams are very evenly matched and they have their highs and they have some of their lows as well. But I just want them, like, I want us to all be entertained and then when I listen to, like I said, all the national broadcasts, there were bowl games going on this entire week. There were bowl games yesterday. Please don't have a UNLV play where your tight end tackles your running back.
Disappointing performance. Holy
so
smokes.
That's something else, by the way.
That's embarrassing.
It was not a great showing for UNLV, and that offense that kicked the snot out of everybody this year just kind of disappeared.
I mean, yeah, like when your tight end goes in motion too late and tackles your running back, that's...
But that's something that I am, and this is the positive Paul in me, that I'm taking into today. The Mountain West is due. So far, we have not won a bowl game.
That's one way to look at it.
Honestly, we have not been real close. One way or not, they got 7 bites at the apple this year. At least somebody's got to win. Hopefully, Hawaii is at least the one that flips before the other 3 play. This is getting a little...
Paul's pom-pom hair is
yeah. If you're not tuned in on YouTube, I've got my pom-pom hair, my green hair, because Koo has her little Santa hat over there, so I want
a little jingly sound.
Yeah,
too.
so I just wanted to get in on the.
I just had to
spirit.
balance because I am wearing my because it's a game day, so I'm wearing my skull special teams ride or die shirt.
Thought you said skull for a second, and I was
No.
really
Get that out of here.
I was
Skull.
I was about to
SKULL.
about to
not
call
the
in
other
a
one.
wellness check and be like, wait a second, is this the
Although
real
they're
Ku'ulei?
they're eliminated, so whatever.
Still, ugh. Anyway,
So I'm wearing this because it's game day, and nothing says Christmas like a giant skull that I'm wearing on my shirt for ride or die. But I felt like I had to balance it with the very green Rainbow Authentics hat and a little Santa hat headband that I have going on that makes little bell sound.
we call that balance.
Yes, because ride or die. Let's go. All right, we got to go to break. We'll be back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani, Paul Brackton, Kyle Galdeira having this Christmas Eve party here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network and on our streaming live on our YouTube channel. Before we continue our conversation about the Hawai'i Bowl and the matchup, let's see. I wanted to make sure we mention this a couple of times during this show because parking is likely to be pretty crazy there around Manoa because yesterday I was looking and there were pretty much only singles left in there. They haven't announced an official sellout yet that I have seen, but it looks like yesterday they had taken all the tickets down because the singles weren't even up there, but I was curious as to why they didn't announce the shutout. So I don't know. Either way, very limited seating, the weather looks beautiful, so I'm expecting a lot of people to be able to show up for this game, not like the San Diego State one where it's like, let's avoid the rain. So people are going to head down there, so just keep that in mind that traffic and parking is going to be limited. If you live in town, highly encourage that you Uber or rideshare down in or carpool for sure.
Take a moped.
Yeah, take a moped. I did see on here that let's see, the city isn't urging fans to consider using Skyline and the bus to get to Manoa on game day. The bus will be offering extra service on its U line on Wednesday. So today offering nonstop routes from Skyline's Ahua stop on Lagoon Drive to Ching Field. So if you live out on the west side or as far as Kapolei or whatnot, you can jump on the Skyline and take it all the way down and then jump on the bus for the nonstop shuttle. The shuttle will be there every 15 minutes from 12:15 to 2:45 and after the game. So if you, like I said, are on that side and maybe don't want to brave the traffic and have some time to just cruise, just jump on the rail and head on over to Manoa. That's an option for you as well. But clear bag policy. What else we got to remind everyone? I always like to you'd be surprised. So clear bag policy, all of that stuff. Be safe and make sure you throw away your trash. Be loud. Well, unless you're cheering for Cal, which there's going to be a lot of fans in attendance that are cheering for Cal because of, some of the loco ties that are there. Some of the loco ties that happen to be on the California Golden Bears.
Do they have some of those?
Dang it.
None of them, right?
No, but in all seriousness, again, those are just some of the other things that are offering. In case you didn't hear it yet, that there are some of these other transportation options for you in case you don't want to deal with some of the traffic or parking or pay for parking, yada, 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 yada. All right. But yes, getting more to the game day, looking at some of now we know Hawaii probably has the most significant player out of both teams that opted out of this bowl game and plans to enter the transfer portal in Jackson Harris. On the Cal side, no significant has opted out of this bowl. They did have a few players, but no one that is of note. So for the most part, both teams are at full strength. And even though Jackson Harris did do a lot in the season, Hawaii has had some time to practice without him, which is something we brought up when he first entered the transfer portal. I'm like, you know what? Him that he's announcing this early, I think that bodes well for Hawaii because at least they get to practice without him.
Time.
Yeah, get some other people. Hopefully, Paul and I have been talking about Nick Senecal maybe has this big game to end off his career. Maybe Carson Pupunu is someone that's going to show up and show out here for the local crowd. And then you have some of the other guys who we'll continue to see, like a Tama Uiliata and then Brandon White and your guy Cam Barfield. Maybe,
oh my God,
maybe this will be a game that it'll be a major running game per se. But let's look at the Cal side, guys, and what you guys, aside from Jaren Keave Sangapolutele, the obvious, what maybe are some of the things that Cal offers to give some trouble, either their defense or their offense? When I talked to Chris Brown the other day, he said on their offense, in terms of speaking for his defense, the offense outside of JKS, basically, I mean, we saw them at practice. The offensive line is humongous. They're definitely bigger than our defensive line all across the board. They're smart. You kind of have to be at Cal Berkeley, but they're football smart as well, and they are quick, right? So those are some of the things. I mean, you have Jacob De Jesus, who is a tiny, tiny little guy, but he's one of the top receivers. So could he almost be an issue, kind of like when we saw Danny Scudero be an issue for the Rainbow Warriors on San Jose State? Doesn't have to necessarily be a big body receiver, but Jaren Keave Sangapolutele will find De Jesus. So in what some of the prep and just watching Cal throughout the season, I know you have been paying close attention to them, Paul, even though they let you down in terms of getting into the CFP. But what are maybe some of the things that you have seen or have heard or have read that Cal, the threats that they pose to the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors?
Well, one, we talk about it all the time, and you just kind of hit the nail on the head. Some of these athletes are bigger, faster, stronger. That's just the P4 thing. Jacob De Jesus isn't necessarily bigger. He's actually smaller than most players, but that's about where his smallness ends. His impact on the field is huge. He's JKS's favorite target out there, so he is somebody who worries me a bit. I also worry Mason Minnie, their tight end, has been a little bit of a security blanket at times for Jaren and can provide a big body receiver that I'm a little worried about Hawaii stopping, especially you have to remember no Jemai Otis in this game, who went down with a season-ending injury against UNLV, and I understand that there is depth on the defensive side, but to lose somebody of that caliber and that importance in the middle, it really stresses the jobs of guys like Kilinahe Mendiola Jensen or Peter Manuma or go down your list there. So those are a couple of things. Defensively, I respect Cal quite a bit. They have the ACC Defensive Player of or Defensive Freshman of the Year, pardon me, and a linebacker. They kind of become a very quiet DBU in a way where they just continue to produce NFL talent. And I mean, I don't really have to preach that to Hawaii fans who watched Aiden Manutai dominate defensively for Kahuku over the past few seasons on the high school level. So he's the next in a long line of really, really good players. So I am curious, can Hawaii take care of the ball well against a Cal defense that does have some athletes, does have some quality players in the secondary, and then offensively, can you take away Jacob DeJesus and can you take away Mason Minnie? And from there is a little more difficult for Cal to figure things out offensively.
And looking at DeJesus as well, he's also the top kick return guy, 21 yards per return.
Yeah, he's
and the top
unbelievable.
punt return guy as well. And then you got to look at my favorite name, Kendrick Raphael. His nickname is the scoring machine. 13 touchdowns for Cal on the ground. And we were talking earlier about the spread, how Cal is a small underdog and how that total is ticking up a bit. I think for Cal to be able to win this one, they don't want to get in a shootout with UH. They're going to want to run the ball, and they're going to lean on Raphael. So I think the scoring machine, hopefully for Hawaii's sake, he doesn't do a lot of scoring, but he's going to be the focal point of that offense if they do try to get in that ground and pound type of game.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations we always talk about, right, where Hawaii needs to go out there and potentially try to score first and stay ahead so that you prevent them from wanting to always go on the ground, and then you force them to throw. You force Jaron to throw into our very competitive secondary, and I'll throw it out there for a couple more times on this show before we get into the game day, where we'll get Campbell on Campbell crime, in which Peter Manuma will get the pickoff on Jaron Calve Sangapolu Tele, pick six preferably, because I know Peter, like 2 Mountain West Media Days ago, was like, his goal for that season was to get a pick six. It still hasn't happened yet. So maybe this will be the game.
Never wrong, only early.
Yeah. So I'm going to text you that for sure if it actually happens. Like,
please.
Peter was not wrong. He manifested it. It just came on the best time that it was going to come.
You just waited for the biggest moment.
Yeah, that's all, to shine. But yes, stay ahead. Mike Alejado hopefully can continue to find all of his receivers like we've seen in the past. I mean, obviously, I can't really share anything we've seen at practice, but
share.
Well, off air, of course, because we have 1 million people, including the Cal coaches, listening in on the show to get our secrets and our takes, so that they could help them prep to see how they're going to beat the Rainbow Warriors. That's why.
What was the number? It was 1,008,500,
something
or
like
1,007,500.
Yeah.
We had a half a listener. What happened to them?
I still can't remember why we do have half a listener.
Alan's going to have to answer to that one.
I thought you were going to say it's Alan. Alan
is a half a listener. Is that what you were trying to say?
I was thinking.
It's not what I was saying.
Oh boy!
I'm like, that sounds like a Kyle joke, not a Paul jab at Alan.
No,
Alan,
not quite what I was saying.
Strays.
But if the shoe fits, or I guess if you fit in the shoe.
Ooh, low blow.
Ooh,
a mini stocking stuffer.
Oh, man. All right, collecting ourselves now. On that note, perfect time to take a break. When we come back, we will take a look at the Hawaii side of things and what the kind of threat Hawaii can pose against Cal coming in this afternoon for the Hawai'i Bowl. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani, Paul Brecht, and Kyle Galdeira here with you guys on this Christmas Eve on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for hanging out and partying with us on this Christmas Eve / Christmas Day, what feels like for a lot of us football fans, as we've got the Sheraton Hawai'i Bowl coming up this afternoon that has probably the biggest hype around it that I can remember leading up to the game. So I hope the game itself follows through and we get maybe a similar type of game that we saw the last time Hawaii was in the Hawai'i Bowl in 2019, in which they came out on top over BYU. So Rainbow Warriors and the Golden Bears of California again this afternoon at Chime. Expectation is that it is going to be packed. They have not announced an official sellout just yet, but a lot of the account is that there is going to be, a lot of people out there, especially with this weather looking as gorgeous as it is right now. All right, taking a look at the Hawaii side of things and some of the things that you guys are aware of and the strengths that Hawaii has. Definitely, we're talking about the defense or the offensive side of Cal. I think one of the major things that Hawaii has in their favor is Dennis Thurman. The fact that I know it's not specifically a player, but every time we have, DT is the one that's running the defense, we have seen how big of a step up that Hawaii has taken over the last couple of seasons with him leading the defense. And then just overall, like I talked about this the other day when I went to practice at Ching on Sunday, beaming hot sun. And I got there when practice was almost done and they were going through their 11s, and it was just the intensity was still high and everyone's yelling. The defense is just yelling out loud with every single, I'm using air quote, tackle, I guess, stop on the offense, because clearly they're not actually tackling each other. It's more of like a two-hand touch when you're doing the practice run-throughs. But no, every single stop that they got against their own offense, it was just like, whoa, like everyone just yelling out loud. The intensity remains high. It's been that mission mindset this entire season is what Coach CB has talked about. And you've really seen that for a majority of the games, including some really significant games on the road as well. And being it that they are able to continue that at home, we go back to that really rainy San Diego State game. But I mean, yeah, you can talk all you want about maybe San Diego State had a bad game, but you don't get walloped like you did by the University of Hawaii if you only had just a bad game and you're supposed to be this team that was receiving votes in the AP Top 25 poll. So from that, it's like that's a good start, right? You're going up against a very, very strong offense that we were talking about early in the previous segment with Cal, but having a lot of that faith in the defense, even without Jemai Otis, right? Like I have a lot of confidence in Coach Chris Brown and being able to get his next man up guys ready for the biggest game essentially of their career, because this is reminding everyone this is the first time all of these players, I'm like, I don't know if there's any 6 years that are there that are playing in a bowl game, considering how far they've come, not making any type of bowl game, really not even coming close, and now they are here. And then offensively, without Jackson Harris on that side, I still think Micah Alihado has just a lot of ability to find his open receivers. He's very quick with making decisions. That is a compliment Nick Rolovich echoed on Monday's press conference, that he's very impressed by the way that Micah processes the field, and we've talked about that before, his decision-making and just his confidence, right? This game is not going to be too big for redshirt freshman Micah Alihado, that's for sure. And that's always one thing, right, is when sometimes the nerves or something can get the best of you and you might not play your best game. But I think the thing that we've seen in this season, where I've mentioned before, is this team is different because in the past, if you had a quarterback that maybe got sacked and fumbled the ball or threw an interception, like a pick six, you kind of started to see the team break down and then they could never come back. But this team, even when Micah has had maybe the first or second drives and he is essentially the one that kind of messes up, you don't know, you forget about it like throughout the game because he's just playing lights out. Like he's able to just, all right, that was my bad. I messed up. Let me fix it and make sure that doesn't happen again. And I think that type of confidence that Mike Alejado and this offense and the rest of the team feeds off of him, which is something else Nick Rolovich mentioned as well, that the ability for this young guy to really command the rest of the team. And then he noticed that when Micah gets knocked down, as you want to see happen with your offense, your teammates always come to pick you up. Like we've noticed sometimes in other teams, they're just like, all right, well, but Micah, you can tell that he gets that respect from the rest of his team, which we've seen throughout this season. And that's what, like, Hawaii, all the confidence that even without Jackson Harris, they will still find ways to make sure this offense isn't going to skip a beat than what we've seen this entire season.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that they have more than just Jackson Harris. As fun as Jackson Harris was this year, a lot of what he was able to do is because teams were able to focus a lot of teams did focus a lot of energy on Pofele Ashlock. And, you did see Cam Barfield start to come on as the year finished out. I mean, it's a season high, career high, both against Wyoming to close out the regular season in terms of touches. Can he build off of that type of game where you go into a game like this? I think the running attack is going to be really, really important for the Rainbow Warriors. This is an offense that has been solid all year. The defense, by the way, hasn't given up more than like 10 points since the middle of October at home, and that was against a Utah State squad that just puts up points against practically everyone, it feels like. So I feel good going into this game for a few reasons. One, the defense, like you mentioned, it's regardless of who is out there. And once again, I talked about the loss of Jemiah Otis and how important that is and how much that does hurt. The rest of this unit, I mean, they defend Pride Rock. They go to another level when they are here. And if they do that in what is the biggest game of the season for them, in the biggest game of a lot of their careers, I mean, why wouldn't they feel good about the chance that they have because of what you said? They have a quarterback with moxie. They have a guy that every time that they have a possession, they believe that they're going to go score a touchdown. Every time they have a chance to go take the lead, they think that that's what's going to happen. And that confidence is infectious. If you can start fast against Cal today, how quickly can you gain a little bit of separation? Because that can be important in a game like this because, like Kyle mentioned, like you mentioned, this is a Cal team, as good as they are with JKS slinging the ball all around. They still want to lean on the ground game a little bit. They still want to go a little ground and pound, then hit you with a big shot down in the air and whatever. They can't play as much ground and pound if you go up 2 touchdowns early on. They don't want to play from behind. Can you play from ahead early on? Yeah. It's a big thing.
Earlier to your point about Micah Alejado being able to overcome adversity, I remember last year Braden Shager would throw a pick or take a sack, and you just see the whole stadium start to moan and groan. People put their heads in their hand. And this year,
the place.
Right. But this year it's kind of like, okay, Micah got this. He usually does that early. He makes a mistake, but he bounces back. And it just goes to show the culture shift that having, and I know it's not a pro team, even though a lot of them are getting paid, but when you have that franchise quarterback, and when he's now committed to come back for next year, you kind of wipe your brow of that. You don't have to worry about him. I mean, things always could change, but so far he's committed to coming back for next year. So you have that confidence, and it really takes a lot of the guesswork out about, can he run the offense? Of course he can. So you get past that, and you can really focus on running your offense. And another player we haven't mentioned yet, Landon Sims. I think he's going to be the wild card.
Amen.
For Hawaii. He led the team with 147 total touches. He can catch it. He can run it. And late in the season, he had that really bad bone bruise that he wasn't supposed to play with, but he played through it. And now that he's hopefully healed up a bit, I think Landon Sims is going to be the X factor that if Hawaii does win, he's going to be the big reason why.
Ooh, I love that. I can get with that too.
I know our Caesar loves hearing that. What is it? Vanilla Beast mode. I think that's what. I think that's the nickname that they have given Landon Sims. But I think that's a great call because kind of what I'm saying as well, if you can get a little bit of the rushing attack, it opens up that receiving game or the passing game more for Hawaii, where it can mitigate the loss of Jackson Harris a little bit going into this one. So I'd really like to see a big Landon Sims game. And a good point by Kyle there, and not just for Landon Sims. Sorry, my hair keeps getting in my mouth. And not just for Landon Sims, but for a lot of guys. You mentioned this before. Football's a brutal sport. I know I'm breaking news to a lot of people, but I mean, a lot of these guys probably, it did them well to get about 2.5 weeks off between game reps. And I'm not saying practice is easy, and I'm not saying they're totally like, they get to just totally rest, but I got to imagine the bodies feel a lot better than they did immediately after the Wyoming game, right? And that could also be the difference between breaking one extra tackle so you score or getting taken down at the 25-yard line type of thing. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think the Hawai'i Bowl got it right, and both teams, to their credit, they have continued to say all the right things. They seem super excited to play in this game. And how about this, man? It's just nice to see two young, talented quarterbacks actually going to play in the game.
Yeah.
Like, in an era where it's all opt-outs and it's all transfer portal and whatever, you got two guys who are as talented as they get. It's going to be fun. It's a Christmas gift come just a little bit early.
I also think it's important to add on to that point you just made, Paul, is that seeing both teams and players feel like this game is the national championship of the college football playoff.
There's been like 6 total opt-outs?
Yeah, but it's just that when you're around these in the practices, when you're around some of these guys and the coaches, like they are, and I'm thinking of it in comparison to what we're talking about off air with that UNLV game. It just seemed like the UNLV players like just didn't care about the bowl game, like. And I know there's other speculation of other things, but when you're watching that game, it just seemed like they just were lazy. They just really did not care about it. Where these two teams and it all starts from the top too,
Correct.
right? Like, so these two coaches, the head coaches, and then their staff, they definitely want to win because, like you said, for Rolo, he wants to go improve himself. Now he is going to remain on staff. If no one listening or watching saw that he is being retained by Tosh Lupoi after Tosh finishes out with Oregon to be the head coach at Cal, and then Coach Rolo is going to remain there at Cal. I think that did have something to do with Jaron Keave Sagampoluteli staying there as well. But then Timmy Chang, the best year he's ever had, you get the sense that Timmy's not wanting or even looking to go anywhere after this really, really good year. Because if we remind everyone, this is that 4th year where Rolo had kind of capitalized on the success that he had in 2019 and went on to Wazoo and yada, yada, yada. But with Coach Timmy, like, he knows how much this, and he's talked about it, that how much this game means, and even Michael Alejado talks about it, how much this game means to the fans. And it's always been about the fans and trying to bring back that pride back to Hawaii that they had at one point for this football team. And it, like I said, it trickles down to the entire team. And both these teams are treating this bowl game what is just, in hindsight, it's not a college football playoff game per se, but they are treating it as it is.
Many are calling it the national championship of Christmas Eve bowl games. So,
I like
I mean, take that as you will.
Hashtag the only game in town.
Exactly. It's the only sporting event on today.
Yeah.
We're the only show in town, baby.
Only
Come
show
join
in
us
town.
in the islands.
6 overtimes.
Once again, I think you're still the only person manifesting that one.
Well, in my work, I do get paid by the hour today.
Oh,
So
two
I wouldn't
There
be
we
too
go.
upset with that.
There we
Wasn't
go.
last year a 3 overtime game?
6.
Was it 6 last year? Yeah, I can't even keep track. Let's do it, though. I'm down.
It was like last year, it was like the longest overtime, and then 2 days later, it got beat by another game that went longer. So
let's just beat that one.
Let's
Fine.
just keep
You know
going.
what? You know what? I'm on
for
board.
Kyle to get paid.
If Kyle's getting paid, Koo would be happy. That's all I need. I am sold. Positive Paul's here for it. 10 overtimes.
Sorry, Steven. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not sorry.
Sorry for all the guys who got a hit deadline. Thankfully,
We'll just be.
you get my article when you get my article, folks.
Do they even print the Thursday paper anymore? As long as it goes online, that's all that matters, right?
I mean,
That's true.
realistically, it's the easier way to. Anyway.
Yeah. I just say Steven's side because Steven was the first one to bring it up when we were all at Cal practice. He's like, I just hope it doesn't go to overtime. And I'm like,
Jinx.
I hope it does. One, because that would just bode well for everything that everyone has been hyping this game up to be, right? Like the last thing we want.
That would mean it's a
Yeah.
competitive game.
The last thing we want is like a blowout, unless it's Hawaii blowing them out. But it's like you just don't want to sit there and be like, oh, we hyped up this game and there it went.
And also to your Vegas point, the key word in overtime is over. When it goes to that extra period, you're normally hitting that over anyway. So that's going to make a lot of people happy.
Including this one right here, if I was able to. Hawaii in the over.
Get on it, Brian Schatz.
Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started on that at this point.
That's a big tease for later in the show.
Anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back to close out hour number 1 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani, Paul Braxton, Kyle Galdeira with you on this Christmas Eve, getting you geared up and ready. It's almost like our pre-game show here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. And if you want to actually treat this as your pregame, then you can listen on demand on your way to the game yourself. Kyle will be there working for ESPN Television. Paul will be there covering the game, and I will be there doing some social media, other things. But wanted to kind of like, since we only have a few minutes left, this was just a really funny thing that was going on Twitter. Let's see. Person had tweeted the official Sheraton Hawai'i Bowl game drinking game. Now it's very Cal-centric though, so clearly this is put together by a Cal fan, because it's like take a sip for Tosh mentioned, Ron Rivera mentioned, JKS's high school mentioned, run and shoot mentioned, every JDJ catch, Jacob De Jesus catch, which we were talking about is Jaron Keawe's main receiver, redacted mentioned, Calgorithm meme shown, Kaloha mentioned, Game Day 2024 mentioned, let's see, finish half your drink every time announcers say Rolo and Chang played on the same team.
Dang. He'll be drunk by the first quarter.
I know. Let's see. Finish half your drink. Also, ought to go mentioned. Finish your drink. Rex Volcano tweet shown on screen. What's the Rex Volcano tweet?
So these are a lot of references. You mentioned this.
It's more Cal-centric.
This is a Cal. Cal has a very famous amongst people who are chronically online like myself, burner network. So these are just a lot of burner accounts and a lot of the Calgorithm and like the best and most famous accounts from them and whatnot. Rex Volcano. God, the Rex Volcano tweets. The Rex responded to the original whatever of Max Brown's saying, considering locking my account for public health /safety reasons.
It goes on to say Mark Hamper, TD, Cade gets an offensive snap. I feel like we should collectively get together and hopefully we got to make a Hawaii themed drinking game to kind of match with this. And then if people want to play both games, then which is what the person that tweeted this drinking game noticed that Max Brown, the color commentator for the broadcast today, had put it in his Instagram story and said, "Uh-oh, you guys are in trouble," with the side eye emoji and laughing face emoji. And then the person noticed and said, tweeted it again and said that Max Brown was aware. Max Brown tweeted saying with the smirking face emoji first, "I'm the least of your worries. Every JDJ catch is how you end up texting your ex Merry Christmas in the third quarter." Because that's the number one target. So, yeah, whoever this person that put together the drinking game clearly wants people to get. That's like us saying, I don't know, who would, or maybe every Landon Sims carry.
Landon Sims touch.
Yeah, I mean, you could take what you just said and sub out Hawaii players and kind of make it more of a local theme. But I think that's a pretty cool way to get, some engagement going for the game today. Let's do it.
Do you just not want to say this guy's burner, the burner handle, Koo? You don't want to talk about Tony Krasinski's actual handle itself? It's just the Chicago. It's a very famous Chicago food.
Okay.
I
never really know what people's handles mean.
Yeah, it's the classic Italian beef sandwich.
And my immature mind will
trust. I
because
understand.
of how certain Twitter things are.
Quick little fun fact about this account. This was actually the burner that originally broke, or I guess confirmed from the Cal side that it was Cal Hawaii in the Hawai'i Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Because you actually sent this tweet in our group chat, and I was like, oh, I had seen that before. So it's funny to see just how popular this account is.
This is when we need a burner account, because I'm like, technically I told you before the tweet came out.
Yes, you did. That's why
But I was like, hey, someone's publicly confirming.
That's why I said confirmed from the Cal side,
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back for hour number 2 on this Christmas Eve on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht and Kyle Galdeira on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Christmas Eve, or as I keep mentioning, Christmas Day is what it feels like for a lot of us football fans, with the Hawai'i Bowl coming up this afternoon, 3 o'clock p.m. at Chime, between your University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and the Cal Bears. In action. Again, the spread right now, Hawaii, the 1.5 point favorites, minus money on both sides on the money line. And then the total set at 51.5, up a point from yesterday's 50.5 that we mentioned during the show. So we'll see if it goes up a little bit more. I remember our friend Matt Humans at VSiN, who's going to be in town for the game again. He's always coming out to Hawaii, but he had mentioned, like, I think he's going with the over. A lot of VSiN people are taking Hawaii and the over. And like the more and more, I'm like, I was talking about this in hour number 1, that please, guys, Cal and Hawaii, please be the game that everyone is manifesting this game to be, because we want to celebrate on this Christmas Eve just a fun football game, the return of Hawaii being in the Hawai'i Bowl, the best year so far under head coach Timmy Chang, Nick Rolovich coming back. Our texter out in Boise saying, I told my wife we're not going to church tonight in case this game goes multiple overtimes. So,
I mean, you could always have the app handy, right?
True. Just have it muted in church in the pew, and have it like right where the Bibles sit typically, or whatever it may be. It's like you have the Bible or the hymnal in your hands, and the football game can be right there.
And there would be, let's see, 3, 4. What was that?
I mean, Jesus is a football fan.
I think it's like 5 o'clock start time.
I'll also say this.
too.
Listen, if there was ever a team that is trying to get in the good graces of the Lord and Savior, it would be Hawaii. So I gotta imagine JC can give you a little slack if you want to watch the game from church, if it goes that far. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's just a great Hawaii win, especially because I've had friends text me that they've put money on Hawaii out of respect for me, and I'm like, you didn't need to do that.
No pressure, Paul.
I know. I'm like, I am not out there playing, guys.
Well, and then the best way to sum this up is something that Coach Rolo had tweeted, like last week, because it was when the Hawaii football account had tweeted about Timmy Chang having that career that he had within playing in the Hawai'i Bowl. And then Nick Rolovich retweeting it and saying it's true, Bows and Bears on Christmas Eve, Santa will not begin his journey until one falls. Bum, bum, bum.
So my question is, do you remember when Rolo beat Hawaii before when was it? When he was still with Nevada. And I took the picture on what was then Twitter. He put the 2 Rolo rolls, the candy, on midfield and an X. And he later told me that he regretted doing that because he basically did it because Hawaii didn't hire him as the coach back then. And then he brought Nevada in there and totally whooped on Hawaii. He eventually became the Hawaii coach. But I'm wondering, if Cal does win, we're not rooting for that, of course, but if it happens, does Rolo do the X marks the spot again?
No.
He's past that?
Yeah, he's past that. I think he's because he was the one that ended up leaving Hawaii for more money, which I don't blame him at all.
He broke up with us.
Yeah, he broke up with us. That's a good way to put it. He broke up with us, right?
Is there a Taylor Swift song coming?
The fate of Ophelia. Please do not break my heart, Hawaii. That was.
Oh my gosh, please.
Don't get me started on that. Just like when Michael, I always try to refrain. I try to hold in the swiftiness a bit as much as I can. And then Michael, sometimes when he's on the show, will be the one to bring it up. He's like, I'm surprised you didn't. And I'm like,
well, if you're going to give me the off-ramp, I'll take it.
But I'm so glad you brought that up, because I had mentioned it on the show before, and I honestly could not remember who told me about that story about the Rolos. The last time I brought it up was when the 808 to the Bay, Jaron Keave stuff showed up in the airport. And I'm like, this feels like a Nick Rolovich doing. Now I know he wouldn't be the one to call up the airport and and do the funds, but I'm like, this feels
He'd
like an
plant the seed.
idea that was planted by Nick Rolovich, because he kind of just has that quirky mind to do that. And then I brought it up, the story, because I'm like, because he would do things like this, and where it was very I'm going to put the Rolo candy, because I knew that he was not happy that he didn't get hired by Hawaii at that time. Was that in the Norm Chow time?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Norm Chow
and that's
time.
when he was with, I believe, Nevada, right, as the OC.
Yeah.
And they just blew the doors off Hawaii at that point. And it was funny because he was smirking about it. And then the next year when I asked him about it, he goes, yeah, I really regret doing that. And I think he did feel bad because he didn't mean it to slight the people of Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was more so the athletic department and, the coaching staff. So
Yeah.
he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's young. We all do a little funky stuff, like.
I think it's funny.
I don't know. And again, as someone who is not petty at all, ever,
Never.
I would never think to do something like that.
I think it's hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Here's the thing. I've said this before, where to the victor go the spoils, right?
Yeah.
When you win, you get the opportunity to do whatever you want, and I appreciate some good smack talk. I love a little trash talking and a little. You guys get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. I think it's fun. It adds more to sports. I've said this on the show countless times, it feels like now. We decide when we care and when we don't, and what games matter and whatnot. When you do stuff like that, it makes it feel like the game matters a little bit more, because clearly it mattered to Rolo a bit. And yes, like Kyle said, he can regret it, and nonetheless, I'm sure part of him loved doing it, and part of him always is like, and that's the way that kind of trash talk goes, especially when it's trash talking the people you love. Because I think about that when I used to trash talk my friends too, right? Where it's like, it feels so fun in the moment, but you're also like, I hope they don't take it the wrong way, because it's all in competition. It's all in fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, and
well, I was going to say, in this day of NIL, I'm just thinking, why hasn't Rolo gotten either a sponsorship or some kind of collective?
Yeah, I mean, that's
where
such a layup.
Maybe let's just say, I know he's happy at Cal now, but let's just say he does well in the bowl game. He does well next year. He gets a head coaching job. Why wouldn't Rolo Candy become, one of the NILs for his new landing spot?
That would be interesting. I did want to say, though, and part of why this tweet that I had mentioned not too long ago that Coach Rolo had posted out there, again, retweeting a tweet by Hawaii Football that posted 1,000 career passing yards in the Hawai'i Bowl for head coach Timmy Chang and what he did as a player, and Rolo kind of showing support for that, emphasizing how it's true. But again, Santa will not begin his journey until one falls. And I really felt that, because I feel like it'll be exhausting, obviously, physically exhausting for the players. But I think both coaches, especially Timmy Chang, wants to win this game so bad that I think there is going to be no bone in his one. He's a little bit, or not a little bit, a lot older than that Rolo situation. So some of that comes with a little maturity. But I think Coach Rolo has, and we've heard this in the press conference, that has the utmost respect for Timmy Chang, that he would never do something that was like that. Because I think at the end, whoever wins, you're going to get one of those like long hugs, like, when they meet in the middle, just the pure like sigh of, I can't believe like this actually happened. It's all going to come together when they can hug and embrace and probably share a few words, where Nick Rolovich, like I said, shared it in the press conference that Timmy is one of the few coaches in this entire world of FBS football that knows exactly what it's like to not only play for the University of Hawaii, but to try to coach here and to try to turn around a program that is very difficult to turn around, because we remind everybody again, Timmy Chang, just like Nick Rolovich, and Steven Zai was the one that brought this up in the post game, like they took it over when like the programs were down in the dump. Like the vibes were so low. Everybody, you have to get all of the support back. You have to start winning football games. So Nick Rolovich like knows exactly what Timmy Chang is going through, and I think there's a lot of care and empathy for that, and then just the pure brotherhood within being former teammates and everything like that. So it's going to be one of those lasting Yeah, sigh of relief and pretty much echo the point that Santa will not continue go on the journey until one falls, and hopefully one doesn't fall until after 6 overtimes. It'll be fun to watch.
I can't help but laugh. I'm sorry to giggle over here. I'm just thinking about the press conf. How does Stephen always like part of working in media for so long is like obviously you get relationships with these guys and you get an opportunity to get to know them and whatever. How is it that Steven gets his guts busted by every single coach, man? It doesn't matter. Rolo, EG, like and Timmy does. Every single coach, every single one of them loves to give some rub to Steven. It's so funny. It always kills me.
It happened twice in Monday's press conference.
Yeah.
Because I think Timmy said like
Asking the
asking the hard questions. And then
Rolo's
Rolo,
like something like words are hard.
Yeah, he's like words are hard, Steven. What did you just say? Like, and then I shared this with you off air, but at Cal practice where Steven was, and then and like you guys know exactly kind of the backstory and everything, especially Kyle. Like Steven was wearing like the shirts with like the front pocket, and Steven had his recorder there. And when he and I went to go say hi to Coach Rolo after the Cal practice, it's like, you know, he said hi to Steven, shook his hand, gave me a hug, and then immediately after, like, oh, good to see you guys, points at Steven's pocket and is like, the little eyebrow raise, you know? And then Steven's like, oh, no, it's not on. And he put it in his pocket. And then Rolo was like, you used to always get me with that. So I'm like, it never fails. Never fails. But just to emphasize your point, I thought I'd share that story with the beautiful people
it's
because
so funny.
You're right. Steven Tsai, I mean, covered these guys as when they were players.
I was going to say, he's literally seen them grow up.
Yeah.
Like from young men into growing their own families.
Yeah.
Whether it's their like meeting their wives, or
All their
raising kids, growing as coaches as well. Like Steve, in a way,
man.
Steven's been their grandpa.
We love you, Steven Tsai.
I love that guy.
So just to put a bow on the conversation, I went digging through the Facebook archives.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted this originally. September 12th, 2012 was the game
Wow.
when then Nevada OC Nick Rolovich and the Wolfpack hammered Hawaii 69-24. And then 3 years later, he became the head coach. So it's pretty cool to
I
go in
would
the
offer
Wayback
him the
Machine.
job
But
right
that
after
also
that.
makes me feel kind of old because I thought it was just a few years ago. But 13 years.
Well, just like when we were thinking about when Nick took over, you're like, that was almost 10 years ago when he first took over as head coach.
November 27th, 2015 was when he got hired as the head coach.
Gosh. Well, that was more over 10 years ago. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Guys. Well, Paul was like in middle school or something. High school. Oh, no, okay, high school. You're 25 now.
What
So you're
year?
in high school.
What year were we
2015 when Rolo was
Oh,
hired
yeah,
as the head
yeah.
coach.
I was playing varsity basketball, folks. I was a college prospect by then. What can we say? You know, Rolo probably had eyes on me. He's looking. He's like, maybe I can get this kid to switch sports. He'd be a great water boy.
I mean, you're about the same size as De Jesus, so
I
maybe
mean,
that's-
I'm bigger than Day. I'm taller than him. And listen, put me through a college football nutrition program. I could put on 8 pounds.
All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll take a small break from our Hawai'i Bowl conversation. Again, feel free to get on the chat either via YouTube live stream chat or text us at 808-888-KG1, 808-888-5481. But when we come back, we'll talk some NFL now that we have Kyle here in studio, and we got NFL games tomorrow. Woohoo! We'll be right back on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Ku'ulei Agbayani, Paul Brecht, and Kyle Galdeira on this Christmas Eve, getting you geared up for game day. We're going to chat some NFL real quick, but I want to remind you guys, for those of you heading out to Manoa for the game today, let's see some of the know before you go stuff. The parking opens at noon. Gates open at 1 p.m. Parking will be available on game day for $10, card only, no cash sales. Let's see. Please enter via Dole Street or Wailea Gate. Let's see. Consumption of alcoholic beverages is prohibited in the parking areas. There is the tailgate at Upper Camp, or the festivities in Upper Campus, and I think Cal has a tailgate as well. Let's see. They have a keiki zone that has ice cream. Ooh, ice cream, face painting, mascots, and balloon twisters, and more. Performances by, let's see, National Anthem and Hawaii Pono'i is Taimane. Kapena, not the original. Not the original Kapena will be the halftime performance. Let's see. Is this a Nei is another halftime performance? Oh, there's a bunch of halftime performance. Oh, Moanalua High Polynesian and Hawaiian dance halftime performance. That's pretty cool. All Attitude Athletics cheer. And Namaka o Pu'uvai Aloha will also be at the halftime. So a lot of stuff at halftime for you guys to be entertained on this Hawai'i Bowl and Christmas Eve day that we are rooting for to go to overtime. And by we, I mean, at least in the studio, it's just me and Kyle that are woohoo. So Kyle can get the extra pay, and we can just have the overtime means that it is for sure going to be a good game, close game the entire time. All right, let's we'll get back to some more Hawai'i Bowl stuff, but I did want to chat some NFL real quick because we've got some NFL games coming up tomorrow. Merry Christmas, everybody. And the good thing is my team does not play, so at least I don't got to stress on Christmas Day. And playoffs, Kyle's team, the Green Bay Packers, still right there. Will likely, a lot of things have to happen for the Packers to not make it into the playoffs, but I hope that the powers that be makes it in a way that the Packers will be the 8th seed.
Wow.
Only because we needed to change or something, because I am not about to have a Bears-Packers matchup.
Well, regardless, it's going to be Bears-Packers, right? Because even if the Bears somehow blow it and lose out and the Packers win out, the Packers would then jump to the 2, right?
Well, that's why I'm like,
and they're going to play the Bears in the 7.
It could happen where it's not the first like wild card round that our teams are playing against each other, because I cannot handle that. As the playoff starts to kind of, the picture is forming now, I'm like, no. Mainly because, can I just not play a division opponent in like the wild card round? Even if like, and it's not to say that I don't think the Bears can win. I think it'll be the best of 3 essentially, because the Packers have won this season. The Bears have won in that last game. Both teams dealing with injuries. I just, for my mental health, can we not play the Packers?
Good luck. Have
but
fun.
the way that it is shaping up somehow. But if the NFL football gods want to be nice to me for a little bit, at least can we just not have them in that first round?
I'm still surprised that the Bears have, according to ESPN, an 11.6% chance at the number 1 seed still. Even though the Seahawks and the 49ers are basically going to determine that. But that's kind of cool for the Bears.
Never say never, but never.
I just want to win. In case nobody...
Just enjoying being part of the playoffs.
I'm enjoying that they're actually clinched, and I'm like, yay! So that was the thing, right? I was celebrating the fact that they had like clinched the playoff berth. Thank you, Detroit Lions, this past weekend. And then when I saw say if the playoffs were to end today, the predicted matchup, and seeing that the first matchup would be against the Packers, I'm like, really? The first time in the playoffs for a long time, and we got to play the stinking Packers. Although, shout out to that small business, I guess, where the cheese grater foam hat like had like a 300% increase in
rocks.
in purchases because of DJ Moore rocking that in the post game. Kyle's
really
over here
funny.
just rolling his eyes like yeah.
Yeah, let's see when the playoffs start. What happens?
Like I've been saying since the beginning, when they were taking the turn and actually looking like a legit football team for once, I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy it while it lasts, and we will just enjoy. Yeah, like I said, enjoy the ride. I will not put my heart and soul into it like I did, and I brought this up yesterday. And Kyle, you know very well because I was in studio with you after that game. I brought up the story of it feels like 20. I don't want my heart to be like 2015 Chicago Cubs, where I'm like, they peaked too early and there was no expectation in the beginning of the season. They made it to the NLCS, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the Cubs are going to go to the World Series. Wiped out by the Mets, and I was just like pure devastation. Had to go jump on the radio after that game when they got eliminated with Kyle, and I'm like crying, like literal tears. It's so sad.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
So
And of course, I would never in the moment, make fun of you then, but it
But
even
now-
more so, I wasn't going to go there.
So thank you for that. But I do not, after that pure heartbreak, I don't even think I've cried that much over a breakup with a boy, to be honest. I was
The
just like, this is so
thought
sad.
of having to speak and have coherent thoughts after one of my teams loses a play. One, I barely can even imagine what that feels like for the Jets anymore. The Yankees, if you thought that one time where you guys got the unedited version of Paul's vocabulary, if you thought that was a sight, just wait till you hear the Yankees lose in big games. And the Knicks, I've never experienced like a massive game for the Knicks. I mean, I guess the past couple of years, but I can't imagine that. I can't fathom that for you, my friend. So honestly, just salute to you for even showing up.
Yeah, it was like Kyle said. That's the best way to put it. It was a rough one.
I've got to add, remember, I think it was 2015 when Brandon Bostic couldn't catch the onside kick against Seattle. And that was the year the Packers were just like collision course, easy run to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And they were up by, I think, 20-something. They ended up blowing it. And just like last week when they lost to the Bears and couldn't handle an onside kick, which I still don't understand how that happens. But it just goes to show you, like, you got all these great things going for you, and one bounce of an oblong football can change a season.
Stupid little egg.
Right?
Yeah. And we will see what happens tomorrow. And this is interesting with like following like the trends. And I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about this, Kyle. Like, we won't do our full quick picks, but with the games coming up tomorrow, I mean, it really doesn't matter for majority of the teams playing on Christmas Day. And I'm sure when they figured out the schedule, they were like, wow, these will be great based on last season.
Originally,
This will be great. And it's
They don't
not
even
so
have
great
one.
this year. None of these games, at least one team in every single one of these games have no shot to make the playoffs. And in the first game, it's just the Cowboys and Commanders. It's the no shot as well, playing for maybe pride at this point.
They are playing for the right to help Paul's New York
Oh.
Jets. If the Commanders keep winning, that helps the Jets stay higher up in the first round. And if the Cowboys keep losing, that second round pick looks better and better for the Jets. So I am looking at that game with great interest.
That one matters to Paul.
I love
Go
that.
Cowboys.
I love that.
No, wait, no. Go Commanders. Sorry.
Amen. But the other two, I like you guys are saying, you look at these at the start of the season, and you're like, man, that should be fun. The Commanders, a team who made a deep run last year, fun young quarterback. The Cowboys, I mean, Jerry always makes them somewhat interesting, whether for better or for worse. And then Lions, Vikings, two playoff teams. At least one of them, surely they will be at the top of their division. Surely, right? And then the Broncos and Chiefs, I mean, self-explanatory. I mean, the Chiefs being out of the playoffs at this point at all, let alone like not in contention for the division is.
I mean, at the very least, the
insane.
NFL or I guess Prime Video, I'm pretty sure that Miss Swift will want to spend Christmas Day with her man. So that's probably the one thing that the Chiefs have going for them with that afternoon slate between the Chiefs and Broncos. Again, Chiefs eliminated from the playoffs. The Broncos at least have somewhat of something to play for as they want to try to get the one seed, all the things that come with the one seed, the first round bye. Well, it's can go either way what your take is on whether or not you want your team to have that first round bye or not. But definitely the home field advantage for the Broncos. But going back to the Cowboys-Commanders game, and I want to kind of pick your brain, Kyle, a little bit more on the sports betting side of things, is when you do have a game like this where no team is really playing for anything except for pride at this point and wanting just your true competitive nature, I would hope they still go out there and wanting to win the games, but there's no playoff implications whatsoever. Take out them caring a lot about making Paul happy, though, on Christmas Day. But the Commanders are the 8-point dog at home. Now, the Cowboys have shown, what was it, the first game of the season, even that tie against Green Bay, like they've shown that, the Cowboys, this is going to be the year for the Cowboys. And then, it didn't end up coming to fruition. But how do a lot of the gamblers manage a game like this down the stretch of the season? Because they're going to bet it no matter what. Like, the degenerates are going to go and they want to bet on anything and everything, especially on Christmas and these holiday games. But how do you even begin to navigate what you think on this game? Because there's how you strategize other outside factors to a matchup like this.
Well, I think one of the key things I learned, and listening to VSiN kind of reminds me a lot, is you have to take the emotion and the fandom out of it. So just let's cover up, let's redact the team names. When you look at a 6-8-1 team going to a 4-11 team, and you also think, okay, these are division rivals. I don't know who they are, but the home team is catching 8.5 points. I'm going to take the home team. I don't care if their third string quarterback is playing. Both teams are eliminated. And when you look at it from that point, to me, the easy play is Washington, because even if Dallas does have more talent, they're not motivated. They don't play defense. Whereas Washington, like Paul was saying, they might be tanking a little bit to get that better pick. But at that point, the players don't tank. The organization tanks. Yeah. So the players are going to play hard. And I just think Washington keeps it to a field goal type of game.
Ooh. I honestly am going to agree with you on that per se. I do think the Cowboys are going to win. But yeah, I don't think they're going to cover that 8, like you mentioned. At most, it'll be winning by a touchdown. But for the most part, yeah, it's going to be a very evenly matched game. Now, going to the other two games that are happening tomorrow with the Lions and Vikings. As we know, the Vikings not playing for any type of playoff hopes. The Lions, though, they are on the bubble. Likely, things have to really go accordingly to their favor. One would be taking care of business in this game for the Lions, but for the most part, it looks like it'll likely be the Panthers and the Packers if they take care of business to land themselves on the NFC side of the playoffs. But nonetheless, you got a guy like Dan Campbell, who is quite the motivator there for the Detroit Lions. And the Vikings, the Lions are 8-7 and the Vikings are 7-6. They're not bad per se, and the Vikings are the home team, but catching the points. They're getting the 7.5. The Vikings are, but the Lions at least are playing to try to get into the playoffs. This is where it's because I know what we were saying, and I'll kick it to you real quick about thinking that, hey, the Vikings are going to win by a lot, but I still feel like Dan Campbell can will his team to win. But this is going to be a similar situation. I think it's going to be a close game. Detroit comes out on top. They do get the win. But I don't see them covering the 7.5 either. Right,
and that's another key lesson that I've learned over the years is if a team is in a must-win situation, the other side is always going to catch value. So let's just say that the Lions and the Vikings were, let's just throw it out there, 7-7 instead of 8-7 compared to 7-8. This line would probably be 3.5, 4. But because of the must-win motivation for the Lions, it's bumped all the way up to 7.5. So because of that, to me, the Vikings are the relatively easy play here, just as the home dog, and the fact that if the Vikings win and the Lions lose, both of these teams are 8-8, and that's a win in itself for the Vikings.
All right, so Kyle and I on track for the same then for the first couple of games as we go through right now.
I was interested when I was looking at it because I kind of figured we would be getting a maybe even, and I'm feel pretty good about saying this, probably a clean sweep of home dogs on Christmas Day. Is that going to be the case with this Chiefs-Broncos game as well?
I think the only factor there is we saw the Chiefs absolutely not care last week, and I can't stand the Broncos, Bo Nix, or Sean Payton. So personally, I hope that the Chiefs win. I just don't think they have enough personnel to even keep it close. That's my only worry there.
Totally fair. I should have worded that better. I didn't necessarily mean a clean sweep in terms of us believing that all the home dogs. I just meant that the home team is the dog in every single one of these
Right.
matchups.
Like we saw on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Or at least the home dogs or the dogs all covered, and I think won outright on Thanksgiving.
But yes, so I assume the Chiefs are also getting some points at home against the Broncos,
Yes.
or the corpse of the Chiefs, I guess, at this point.
chefs.
Chiefs are getting
Chefs.
Chiefs are getting only, air quote, only 13 points to a Broncos team that I think could essentially win by at least 2 touchdowns, going to just the down in the dumps, no Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. So without Patrick Mahomes, you take out the threat of Travis Kelce, because that chemistry that those two guys have are just next level. And yeah, they just have nobody anymore, where the Broncos at least are still wanting
They're
to
fighting
play
for something.
Yeah, they want to make sure that they are easily clearing this game and this week with the win to potentially get that number 1 seed. All right, before we go to break, Kyle, I want to ask you, when you look through the rest of the NFL slate, kind of like what we always do, aside from your actual team, is there any particular game that you are looking forward to in terms of just matchup, or maybe one that would look tantalizing as the better, or what are some of the other games or one other game this weekend that you're looking forward to?
Well, I think one of the interesting ones is the Seahawks at the Panthers. The Seahawks always travel well, especially for some reason going from the West Coast to the East Coast. And the Seahawks are favored by 7 on the road, knowing that the Panthers are in a must-win situation to try to win that division and get into the playoffs. So, to me, the Panthers are one of my favorite plays this week.
Ooh.
7 points at home in a must-win situation with a team in the Seahawks that's already clinched. I know they're going for the number 1 seed and trying to win their division, but it just all the stars seem to align for the Panthers in this one, coming off a big win over Tampa Bay.
Kyle doesn't believe the Sam Darnold revenge game, clearly. Sorry, I couldn't even hear
I
that.
think the game I'm looking forward to that is not my team, even though this is going to be stress. Just real quick, I am looking forward to this weekend's Bears-Niners game, just to see if the Bears can keep up with a team that is likely to be, it's in a tough division and competitive in a tough division, to see how the Chicago Bears fare against the 49ers. But outside of that, I am definitely looking forward to this Eagles-Bills game, just because they are both teams that are clearly in the playoffs, still maybe potentially playing for seeding and everything like that, and then maybe a potential matchup. Now, I know it's a stretch, and I'm not a huge believer on the Eagles this year to get into the Super Bowl again, but at the same time, it's not far-fetched that this could be a Super Bowl preview type of game, because both teams have shown the ability to win. Everyone's saying that this is going to be Josh Allen's year, but I feel like they say that every year for like the last few years. So that is definitely a game I'll have my eye on, just because the implications that both teams are in the playoffs, and this could potentially be a Super Bowl, or at least has the ability to be a Super Bowl preview to what we could see. How about you, Paul? What is the game, aside from rooting for the Commanders to win, what is the game that you're looking forward to for a football sake?
Ironically, the Toilet Bowl, the Giants versus the Raiders, for the same exact reason. What can I say? Some bad football. The Raiders put Brock Bowers on IR. The tank wars are on. The Jets are trying to lose as much as possible. The Raiders are trying to lose as much as possible. Giants just stink. So I don't know. That'll be fun. No, on an actual real note, you guys took a couple of the best matchups. I think the one that I'm looking forward to, though, is the Texans-Chargers, a really important one for both of them, as the Chargers still jockeying for some playoff position as well. The Texans fighting for their divisional lives in a division against what seems like the hottest team in the NFL in the Jaguars right now. So that's one that I'll have my eyes on. A fun one where a really good defense versus an offense that should be pretty good or starting to find their stride down the stretch. I'm excited for that one, though, on a real note.
On a real note, but still looking forward to, if the tank wars being on.
If the Raiders were to perhaps win this weekend versus the Giants, it wouldn't break my heart. It certainly would be a late Christmas gift for me.
The Fernando Mendoza lottery that Paul wants the Jets to win.
Please.
Or need to find a gap quarterback so that you can get Jaron Calvé-Sangapolutele in a few years, maybe.
Once again, I would never wish that upon Jaron.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Ku'ulei Agbayani, Paul Brecht, and Kyle Galdeira in here in Hawaii Sports Radio Network studio, getting you geared up for the Hawai'i Bowl as we are live on radio, online at hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Let's see. I want to get to a topic real quick. What? You switched your wig, Paul.
I did for the second hour.
Oh, okay.
After the opening minutes of this second hour, I went from the simply green to some green and white. I figured I'd spruce it up a little bit, a little tree pun for you right there.
Okay.
But yeah. Also, this one, I don't know, fits better under the headset. So it was a comfort thing as well.
I love that.
But I can play it off.
I was noticing it. I was like, wait a minute. All right. Well, I want to just talk about this for a few minutes, and I don't want to just end up beating a dead horse about this, but I wanted to mention it because because it's something that directly affects sports and something that is prominent here in the sports landscape of everything, including the fact that our affiliation is with the Vegas Stats and Information Network, and it deals with a Hawaii senator here in Hawaii, and something that came out. This is something I tweeted about that's getting a lot more traction than I thought it would. But Pablo Torre, of course, of all people, it's Pablo Torre to go and put this out there, who you guys have heard us talk about a lot with everything that Pablo Torre finds out has been able to keep us all informed about. Well, he made it known, because he did some research on this, that U.S. Senator Brian Schatz of here in Hawaii is talking with leagues, players associations, and sports books about legislation that will heavily regulate prop bets in the U.S., according to Pablo Torre. Schatz is also aiming to ensure that offshore sports books are also captured in this federal legislation. Schatz released a statement that read, in parts, quote, "Integrity is essential to competitive sport, and recent allegations in the NBA and MLB have made it clear that we need federal protections. This is about protecting fans and restoring public trust in sports." Torre points out that this is uncharted legal territory, as Congress has never passed a bill like this regarding legalized sports gambling. So before I kind of kick it over to you guys, a couple of my takeaways from this. One, the part about the offshore books really stands out to me, because offshore books are basically in another country or other countries. Offshore, but the territory
is that what that means?
Of anywhere in the United States. So as we know, if you have U.S. law, it doesn't go offshore. It's just this. I mean, yes, you can try to regulate certain things coming in, more tangible things though coming in, but it's hard to control the internet, right? Unless there's going to be a lot of pushback if you're going to attempt to control parts of the internet, as we've already seen with other things. So it's just kind of interesting to me that there is even a thought that would be possible. I get it. I understand the frustration and wanting to make sure that the integrity of sport remains. But as we've seen, and I've said this so many times before, with people's fear of sports betting, the sharp bettors and the sports books, they essentially regulate each other, because no sharp bettor is going to want to lose money because someone else got the inside, right? So there's always things that get flagged. That's why we find out about nobody that barely ever plays, and when it looks odd that there's more action on this particular player, right, it gets flagged almost immediately. It's not like some secret where they can try to make it not look suspicious. There's always going to be some type of suspicion, so they almost regulate each other on top of the actual legal regulations. And then I think the part that bothered me the most, though, about this is the fact that, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm not someone that really pays a lot of attention or has a lot of confidence and will go in on doing a lot of this political research, right? Like, always very open that I'm just very, I don't know. I wish everyone could work together and do something that is the benefit to the majority of the people. But I guess that's crazy to think about, and not just one particular party. But at the same time, I would hope, and I don't know if things have changed, but I thought your senators typically work for types of legislation that will somehow trickle down to directly affect the state that they represent. And I just found it a little odd that Brian Schatz is working on something that his state doesn't even legalize. We don't even have legalized sports betting, period. Hence, we don't have legalized prop betting at all. So I just am like, am I just like not in tune with how legislation is done anymore, where people and senators and representatives will put efforts into things that do not directly affect their state? So I think that's what, and again, feel free to text in and you guys can correct me, but I think that's the part that bothered me the most, is that we don't have any legal gambling here. So why don't we work on something that is going to like actually affect us in hindsight? And yeah, you can say it'll affect how we watch sports, but I mean, you can't really measure that impact, right? So I don't know. I was just really confused at why Brian Schatz, of all people, from a state or representing a state that does not have legalized sports betting or any type of gambling whatsoever, is working on this type of legislation.
So a couple of things here. I think one take, and I'm going to give Schatz the benefit of the doubt. I think they call it horse trading, where let's just say Schatz is going to fight this fight, and then one of his colleagues is then going to help Schatz fight for something in Hawaii. So I'm just thinking, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to put my positive Paul hat. Maybe Schatz is doing this because he has a colleague that is trying to get this going, and he's going to come alongside and help. And then if something happens, then Schatz is going to say, okay, I helped you. Now you scratch my back because I want this for Hawaii. That's the optimal outcome. Now, the negative side, and the first thing I thought of yesterday is, what is this clown doing? Because he's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to be in Washington. We pay for his travel, his housing, and he's worried about prop betting. With all the nonsense going on in this country, in this state, prop betting, really? And the only thing that brought up the point about this is that the leagues and the sports betting operations caught the people involved. That's the only reason people are talking about this. So the self-regulation is working.
Yeah.
So leave it alone. We don't need the government involved. All they do is muck things up. So I just don't know what's going on with this. I know a couple of local media people are saying, oh, we need this. Everybody needs to play fair. Yada, yada. That's not how life works. Government regulation does not help anything. So I just think let the free market flow. If people are going to abuse the prop market, the sports betting operations are going to find out, and then they're going to get prosecuted.
Yeah.
And the only thing that suffers is when they, like driving here to work today, driving on the Likelike, you have to slow down to 25 freaking miles an hour because a couple of idiots can't follow the red and green lights. Why are we why don't we just arrest the people that can't follow the rules and let everybody else do their thing?
Yeah.
Why do we all have to suffer because a few people can't do it? So same thing with prop betting. Just let it go, let it flow, and then let's legalize it in Hawaii so we can make money, pave the roads, make everybody go to get the great education, and maybe get out of the mess we're in.
Yeah, it's just really, it's one of those. I'm glad you at least tried to put your positive Paul hat on there. And yes, if in hindsight, after like a few years from now, if that's it, then that's it. But it's not like he's trying to introduce NIL regulation, right? That directly affects everything we've been talking about here at the University of Hawaii. Then I would feel more like, all right, at least it's working on something that everyone's trying to figure out.
And
right?
on that note, what if Schatz said, okay, Hawaii, I'm going to take our legislature off the hook. I'm going to get $10 million for the University of Hawaii, NIL. Cool. And what if DraftKings was the sponsor? You know what I mean? Like, there's creative ways to do this that isn't just about bringing down an industry that might have a stigma around it because a lot of people don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to add or take on this, mostly because I just don't really believe it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I just, quite frankly, it's something to talk about to close out the year.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I look at it. You can try but the box is open, and good luck. There will be some sort of regulation, I'm sure, at some point. I think Kyle's probably the closest there, where why it's a senator in a state who doesn't necessarily have gambling or any type of form of like gaming type of thing. I think it would make sense for it to be maybe not necessarily his idea, but it might be beneficial to get behind it now. So we'll see how it works out. I don't really think it'll do anything, though, if I'm being quite honest.
Brian Schatz, introduce legislation about NIL in college sports, if anything. That'd at least help us. But yeah, this is anyways, we'll see how this story plays out. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to close it out here on this Christmas Eve and this Christmas Day for us Hawaii football fans as the Sheraton Hawai'i Bowl coming up this afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Hey students, big
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Agbayani, Paul Brecht, and Kyle Galdeira closing it out here on this Christmas Eve. Once again, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. A shout out to those of you in our live chat. We got Caesar, our media colleague Justin Baptiste, Alex in Adelaide, Australia. Shout out Alex, and Merry Christmas to you as well. So
Christmas.
I was just thinking
think it's
that.
actually
Is it Christmas?
Christmas Day in
it
Australia
is, yeah.
now, right?
Merry Christmas to Alex. So, that means when we have our New Year's live stream next week, Wednesday, New Year's Eve live stream, that it'll be New Year's when we get a chance to chat with Alex as well.
Very
there
nice.
in Australia. So thank you guys for tuning in. I know we had our texter from Boise earlier that said he's not going to go to church tonight if this game tonight goes to overtime in the Hawaii Bowl between your Rainbow Warriors and the Cal Bears. Again, Hawaii is just the 1.5 point favorite, total at 51.5. Both teams at minus money for the money line. And this I know I've done it with the Bears throughout the NFL season, but this is the epitome of emotional hedge if I were to put any money on this game, because I would definitely just go, let's go the Cal plus the 1.5, because I just want this game to be a good game, close back and forth all the way through, preferably a high scoring back and forth. Like, let's just not play defense Just keep going back and forth to make it entertaining, and then potentially at least flirt with the possibility of overtime. I know we had texters yesterday that are like Kansei Matsuzawa with the walk-off field goal, which would be cool.
I mean, in theory,
Start
that
the
can
season,
still
end the
happen
season.
in overtime if the defense gets a stop.
True. Start the season with a walk-off against the ACC team. End the season with a walk-off field goal against another ACC team. It feels so weird to say because they're Pac-12 teams.
Two California-based Atlantic Coast Conference teams.
But either way, yes, this would be the emotional hedge game of the year for me if I were to partake, because I honestly, as much as it's like we always say, teams they're pretty evenly matched on paper. This is a game I'm just going to throw it all out the window because I don't really know who's going to win. I just want a fun, entertaining game for all of us and for all of you on this Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I agree. I think regardless of who wins, I do like the over. It should be competitive. And I think there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to save, any gas in the tank. So
true.
I think both teams are going to let loose, and may the best former Hawaii quarterback win.
Amen. I mean, I'm going to take one for the team here, guys. I will sacrifice the Jets winning this weekend so that my other green team in Hawaii can take home a victory to close out the year.
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
I will take one for the team. And that's just who I am. I'm a team player, just like the rest of the Rainbow Warriors. I will suffer through another loss.
Okay, I will really take one for the team and say that I will be okay for the Chicago Bears to potentially not have the finish at the top of the NFC North if it means that
that's you giving
Hawaii,
up way more than I'm willing.
Hawaii to win this Hawai'i Bowl. See, no one can ever question my fandom.
No,
for
they
Hawaii.
cannot.
I'm sorry. I'd rather have Cal win by 20 and the Packers get the 2 seed. Just saying.
I get it. You'll notice my sacrifice. No, end of the day, I do think it's going to be a fun game. I think these two teams are going to throw punches back and forth metaphorically. I think, I don't know, last gut feeling before we got to go, Hawaii in the over one last time.
I'm going to say Hawaii 34, Cal 30.
Ooh.
I'm here for it. Let's do it up.
Just going to emotionally hedge this and be Cal plus the points, but Hawaii wins it straight up. There you go.
There you go. I like that.
So Hawaii by 1?
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Walk-off field goal by Kansei.
Walk-off field goal. It's possible.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then Santa can get
Can
off
get
on
off
his
with
merry
his
way.
journey. There you go. Well, it's been a fun one, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the game today, whether it's in studio or anyways, we got to go. We got to wrap up. For Kyle Galdeira, Paul Brecht, I'm Kule Agbayani. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Aloha.
KGUA.